Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're exploring the story of a place that often gets overshadowed by its flashier siblings in New York City, but has a rich, fascinating history all its own. That's right, we're talking about Staten Island, the borough known for its leafy neighborhoods, the iconic ferry ride, and a deep history that stretches back thousands of years. Let's dive into how Staten Island went from Native American homeland to Dutch outpost, British stronghold, and finally, a unique part of New York City. Long before Europeans ever set eyes on New York Harbor, Staten Island was home to Native Americans, specifically the Raritan band of the Lenape people. They called the island Aquahonga Manicknong, living off its forests, streams, and rich shellfish beds. They traveled by dugout canoe across the Arthur Kill and lower New York Bay, fishing, trading, and maintaining trails that would later become colonial roads. The first European to record seeing Staten Island was Giovanni da Verrazzano, an Italian explorer sailing for France, who entered the Narrows in 1524. But it wasn't until 1609 that Henry Hudson, exploring for the Dutch East India Company, charted the waters around the island. Soon after, the Dutch laid claim to the region as part of New Netherland. They called it Staten Island, or Island of the States General, after the governing body of the Netherlands. That name eventually evolved into Staten Island. Dutch colonization was slow to take hold. Attempts to settle the island in the 1630s and 40s often ended in conflict with the Lenape, who resisted losing their land. It wasn't until the 1660s, just before the English took control of New Netherland, that a more permanent European presence developed. In 1664, the English captured New Amsterdam and all of New Netherland, renaming it New York. Staten Island became part of the new colony, though it remained pretty rural, dotted with small farms and tiny hamlets. Staten Island played a unique role during the American Revolution. At the start of the war, many residents were loyal to the British Crown. In 1776, British General William Howe used the island as a staging ground, amassing thousands of troops there before launching the successful attack on Brooklyn that led to the fall of New York City. You can still see reminders of this era at places like historic Richmond Town, which preserves colonial buildings and artifacts from Staten Island's earliest European days. After independence, Staten Island continued life as a mostly agricultural area, with oyster beds lining its shores and ferries running over to Manhattan. In the 1800s, it even became something of a retreat for New Yorkers looking to escape the crowded, disease-ridden city. Then came the mid-1800s, and with it, new industry. Staten Island's North Shore grew into a busy port area with shipyards, factories, and rail lines. Wealthy families built summer estates overlooking the harbor. In 1898, Staten Island officially became part of Greater New York City when the five boroughs consolidated, even though many locals weren't thrilled about it. A huge transformation came with the opening of the Verrazzano Narrows Bridge in 1964. Before then, Staten Island was only accessible by ferry or a long drive through New Jersey. The bridge connected it directly to Brooklyn and brought a boom in suburban-style development. Fields and woodlands quickly gave way to residential neighborhoods, shopping centers, and new roads. Through the late 20th century, Staten Island developed a reputation as New York's forgotten borough. Many residents felt disconnected from City Hall in Manhattan, and in 1993, Staten Islanders actually voted on a referendum to secede from New York City, although the effort ultimately failed. But Staten Island has always had a fiercely independent spirit. It's known for its strong local pride, tight-knit communities, and a unique blend of urban and suburban lifestyles. You'll find everything from busy Italian bakeries on Highland Boulevard to quiet colonial lanes in neighborhoods like Tottenville. And let's not forget the Staten Island Ferry, one of the most famous boat rides in the world. For over a century, this free ferry has shuttled millions of people between Staten Island and Lower Manhattan, offering unbeatable views of the Statue of Liberty and the skyline. Today, Staten Island is home to about 500,000 people, making it the least populated of New York's five boroughs, but by no means small. It's the greenest borough too, with over 12,000 acres of parkland, including the massive Greenbelt, a network of trails, forests, and wildlife that feels a world away from Midtown's skyscrapers. It's also changing. Diverse new immigrant communities from Sri Lanka, Albania, Mexico, and beyond have added fresh energy and culture to the island. Historic Richmond Town hosts events that celebrate centuries of Staten Island life, from Revolutionary War reenactments to old-fashioned county fairs. In many ways, Staten Island is a microcosm of New York's entire story: native roots, colonial battles, waves of immigrants, industrial booms, suburban dreams, and constant reinvention. It may not have Times Square's lights or Brooklyn's hipster cafes, but it has beaches, forests, bustling neighborhoods, and a sense of community that makes it uniquely its own. So from Lenape hunting grounds to Dutch Staten Island, British staging posts, oyster beds, ferries, and bridge-connected suburbs, Staten Island's history is as rich and layered as any part of New York City, even if it sometimes stands a bit apart. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this journey through the history of Staten Island, give it a like, subscribe for more stories from New York and beyond, and drop a comment telling us your favorite Staten Island spot. Maybe it's the ferry ride, a secret trail in the Greenbelt, or your local pizza joint.